Dear students, in the previous lecture we had studied some of the concepts on which ethology is based. Today I am going to impart some information regarding concept of fixed action pattern. Fixed action pattern is actually instinctive behavioral sequence, and the action performed are automatic and correct regardless of any prior experience. That is, the sequence patterns, they are unlearned acts. These are transferred through genes and they are performed even when the animal has been raised in isolation. Therefore, they are termed as fixed action patterns. These are highly stereotyped and species specific, and they are exhibited by all the members of species, determined by genes. These are released by innate release mechanisms and invariably triggered by key or sign stimulus, which are also called as releasers, as I have told you in the previous lectures. Now, what are the characteristics of fixed action pattern or the properties of fixed action pattern? First is they are stereotyped, or they are constant throughout all the members of a species. They are highly predictable and rigidly structured sequences. These are something different from simple reflexes. Actually, these are complex patterns of behavior and occurs in all the members, but they are sex and age specific also. Like other behavior patterns, the fixed action patterns, they do require releasers. They always occur in response to certain stimuli, but the exceptions are they are released in vacuo also. Certain scientists, they had observed direct exploitation of sign stimuli in nature by some species. There is one characteristic feature which is associated with these fixed action patterns is once they are triggered, they go on towards completion. They don't stop in the middle. And as I've told you in the beginning, they are independent of experience. However, even the fixed action patterns, their efficacy is increased by the supernormal stimulus. Stimulus, as we had studied in previous lectures, they can be single or they may be small groups of attributes or characteristics like color, shape, order. But when they are presented in exaggerated quantity, then they are termed as supernormal stimulus. This exaggerated quantity of attributes leads to eliciting an exaggerated response than what is caused by the natural stimulus. Nicotine Burgeon, a scientist, found that geese, when given the choice of incubation of egg, prefers to incubate egg with bigger size even if the egg is artificial. So supernormal stimulus has definitely got a say in fixed action pattern also. Now, these fixed action patterns, they are resistant to phylogenetic changes. They are conserved in evolution. Now, some of the examples of fixed action pattern, which are although not demonstrated in the slide, but still I am going to tell you that male stickleback mating behavior falls under fixed action pattern. Nicotinbergen stated that courtship and aggression behavior in three-spine stickleback fish is an example of fixed action pattern. And the male especially exhibits fixed action pattern in which the ventral part or the ventrum of the male gets reddened and it establishes a territory and builds a nest. But whenever an intruder male happens to come inside the territory created by the male, then it is chased away. However, at the same time, females which intrude inside the territory, they are courted, they are enticed to enter the nest to lay their eggs. And it was found that the male three-spined stickleback responds in a relatively invariant way, and they were found to attack even the crudest model which were adorned with red colored or giving a look of red color belly, but contrarily they courted a model with swollen belly. The swollen belly is exhibited by the females having eggs. If the model's stomach was more red, then model was attacked more fiercely. This was found by the scientists, as opposed to real male stickleback with lesser reddened belly. So again, that phenomena of supernormal stimulus comes into play, that if the belly is more reddened, then the territoriality is exhibited in a fierce and more peculiar way. Then the second example is egg retrieval behavior shown by grey-legged goose. This was found by Conrad Lawrence and Nicotinbergen. What they found, when egg becomes displaced from the nest of the grey-legged goose, it rolls it back, or it tucks it back inside the nest with its bill. The sign stimuli is should necessarily be present in FA, even in FAPs, as I have told you, that the sign stimuli here is the site of displaced egg. The goose first fixates its sights on the egg and extends its neck over the egg, and using the underside of the beak, it rolls it back to the nest. But even if we remove egg during conduction of this behavior, the bird still continues the behavior and pulls its head back as if an imaginary egg is still present there. This testifies what I have told you in the beginning, that once the FAP is triggered, it doesn't stop in between the process, but it completes to its fullest. It was also found that goose attempt to retrieve two large egg models. Again, that supernormal status comes to play, that the eggs which are larger, they are retrieved more often than not. Experimenters found that stimulus merely had to be an object which should be convex in shape. and for should be comfortable enough for the goose to lay its neck around the object. The goose doesn't care that whether the egg is natural or it is artificial. It just the sine stimulus is just a convex shape roundish egg, no matter it is original or it is artificial. Even if it is artificial, the goose is going to perform this fixed action pattern which we are calling as egg rolling behavior. Another example is herring gull's funny ritual during the feeding. Herring gull chick performs a very funny ritual when the bird come to the nest, that the parent gull has a red spot on the beak, and when it taps it back on the ground, the chick peck the spot several times. This pecking of the red spot by the baby chick serves as sine stimulus for parent to regurgitate the food inside its alimentary canal. The tapping behavior is again innate and genetically pre-programmed. It was not taught to the newborn chick, yet it is performed. That means it is somehow ingrained in the genes and it is innate, it is stereotyped, and therefore it is fixed action pattern. If we paint a yellow stick with a red spot, the chick will peck at the stick too. This again validates that the pecking of the red spot is a fixed action pattern. Then these are some of the examples which I had mentioned to you. Now let us come to the evolutionary advantages of fixed action pattern. When the actions are performed, there must be some association of evolutionary advantages to it. First is it ensures better survival value because essential to the survival of its chick. The fixed action patterns saves time. Learning is not required whenever an action is fixed, whenever a pattern is fixed. It is boon for the animals, especially with very short lifespans, because they don't have time for learning a behavior and then expressing it. But though there are some advantages which are associated with FAP, but there are some disadvantages also which are there with the FAPs. One is exploitation. FAPs are very predictable and invariable, therefore can lead to exploitation of these behavior patterns. One such is code breaking. Now what is this code breaking? Some species have evolved mechanisms to exploit the FAP of other species by mimicking their sine stimulus. Again, let me repeat. Some species have evolved mechanism to exploit the fixed action pattern performed by altogether different species by mimicking their sine stimulus. For example, brood parasitism, which is expressed or demonstrated by European cuckoo. It exploits the sine stimuli of other birds. Here the other animal learned the sine stimuli of different species, that is, it breaks the code and use it for its own benefit. Here I am talking about the cuckoo. Cuckoo actually exploits the FAP of other birds to raise its own progenies. The bird benefits by handing off the task of raising its young to other species of bird who out of FAP will take care for any egg that is found in its nest. The science stimuli here is presence of egg. Although the egg may belong to certain other bird which does not belong even to, which is not even its con specific. The FAP here is incubation. That means the egg of the cuckoo is incubated by some other bird. That incubation is a fixed action pattern. The science stimuli is mere presence of egg of cuckoo in the nest of a bird of other species. This happens when the victimized bird does not recognize the other bird's egg as foreign. If it fails to recognize the other bird's egg, then it will continue caring for it as if they are its own eggs. Once hatched out, the cuckoo ensures for itself a solid upbringing by instinctively pushing its neck around as a science stimulus given to the victimized bird to bring food for it. So this is the evolutionary disadvantages of fixed action pattern. Now we come to the exceptions to fixed action patterns. This will continue in the upcoming lecture. Until then, thank you so much.